Hi all, good morning. I hope everybody is fine. So in today's session, we are going to cover the week two of Python course. So in week one, which were just a glimpse like what we have done in the first week, what we have already learned is how what is we have covered the introduction, we have covered how we can install the Python variables, data types, and basic operation, arithmetic operations, okay, logical operations that we have learned, and we have created a very basic Python project. Okay, today's is the week two where we are going to understand what is the control statement, conditional statements, looping structures, okay, and functions and scope of variables. So these are the topics which we are going to learn. So I have a PyCharm which is an interpreter for Python. So there I have created this control statement.py. I've already told that how we can create a file. So if you have this interpreter, all you have to do is you have to right click on the project. There is a new, and then you have to select the Python file, give a name of the file, and then your file will be created. So very simple. Okay. So I have already created this control statement file. Okay, so let me go over here. So first thing that we are going to understand is what is the conditional statements or control statement. So control statements or conditional statement, as the name suggests, you can see these are something those statements which will control the flow of the execution. Okay, so this includes if, and else. So here what will happen in Python, regard from other programming language where we have if else, but in Python we have if, elif, and else. Okay, so if condition, the syntax of if, you can see here. Let me uncomment this. I have this code written already. So what is going, the syntax says that if we have to use this if followed by the expression or condition, we can say, which need to be evaluated and after the evaluation it decide what is the flow the controller has to take, whether the controller has to go to inside this or he has to come out of it. So that is what the if statement do. Okay, so here this is the syntax. You can either put this or I mean conditions or expression within the bracket, that is fine, but this is completely optional. In Python it is not necessary to keep it as compared to the C sharp and other programming languages where we have to keep this in square bracket, which is not necessary. But what is necessary or mandate here is this colon. Okay, this is very much required in the Python. Please bear in mind that we have to, in each of the conditions, okay, you have to use this colon. So you can see what this is doing. If a is greater than 10, what is a? This variable a is a variable which is holding this value, which is holding this value. So here you can see, so with this statement, we have assigned a value 2 to the variable. Now I'm checking if 2 is greater than 10, then print A. If not, then come to the next statement. And here we have elif. So if we have multiple statements to be evaluated, then we use elif. Okay, else if. It's a nothing but a kinds of a else if only. So let's check another. Like 2 is less than 10, then mention here. Okay, 2 is smaller than this. We have used format is basically gives a command to the interpreter to check this whatever coming into this braces, take it as a variable, not as a data. Okay, so do not print braces is smaller than 10. Instead print value a, and what is the value? Whatever the value which is being passed, that is 2. 2 is lesser or smaller than 10. And if and both of the condition is not satisfied, then it will come here and print number. So let me execute this code and see here. 2 is smaller than 10. Let me pass something like 23 and let me execute it again. So what will happen? So if 23 is greater than 10, so controller come to this point, print A. Okay, and if I use 10, so what happened? 10 is not greater than, less than, so it will come to the last statement, and that is print number. So this is how we can use elif. Okay, and if we come here, apart from else if or elif, there is one more example here. If you can see here, let me give you a here. So here what I'm doing is 20 is assigned to the variable b. So it's checking if b is equal to 10, print this. B is equal to 15, then print this. B is equal to 13, then print this. If none of the condition is satisfied, go to the else block and print B is having a value unknown. Okay, so I have execute. Let me try to execute this. You can see B is having a value unknown. It came to this. Why? Because this I have provided value 20. Let's say I have provided a value 15. So it will go to this block and let's check it in the console. Yes, B is having a value 15. Make sure to use colon in every of the conditional statements. Okay, to give otherwise, we will get an error. So let me remove this and let me try to execute it again. Okay, let me try to execute. You can see here syntax error. I have removed this colon and it stopped executing because there is a syntax error. This is a syntax. Okay, so this is one of the example. There is one more example. You can see here, if else condition we can use to find the items also inside the list. So let's suppose I have assigned the value 4 in a variable b. Now I'm checking if this b is present in this list. Okay, I have provided this value. So whenever you wanted to see item is present in the list, you have to use in clause. Okay, in is nothing, it's something if it contain or if exist kind of thing. Okay, so if b in this list, then print B is present in the list. Otherwise, if not, then B is not present in the list. Let's try to execute it to see. See, B is present in the list because we have provided 4 and 4 is there in the list. Let's give some value as 8, which is not in the list. Let's see if it is going to evaluate it correctly. B is not present in the list. The second, so what we are doing using this if else condition, we are controlling the flow of execution. Okay. Apart from if, elif and else, we have a loop also through which we can control the execution, flow of execution. Okay, so looping, we have in loop we have for loop. Okay, and we have a while loop. So we have two loops only in the Python. We do not have a do while loop. And if you wanted to have the function, if you wanted to use the functionality of do while loop, you have to tweak the programming in while. But we do not have a do while loop in Python. Okay, so what is the looping? Looping is basically, that it is used when we wanted to, sequential traversing all the items in the list and we wanted to perform something on it. In that case, we use the loop. So and loop is present is some kind of a list. So you can see it can be used in list, it can be used in string. String is basically, it's nothing but this is also a sequence of characters, right? We can use in tuple, set, dictionary. Don't worry, I'm going to tell what are these data structures. Okay, what are the data that we can store in this type of the data structures in Python in the next week, in the next session. Okay, right now just focus on the for each loop, just focus on for loop and while loop. So this is one more example. So this is a syntax of loop. What will happen? You can see here, for I in range. So what I have provided here, in range. So what is this range? Range is basically, it is giving, it's a kind of a list, you can say. It's giving you a range like 0 to 5, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so for each of the values inside this range, what we are want to do, we wanted to print this I. If I execute it, you can see what happened here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here you must ask a question, but it is mentioned here 5, then why 5 is not displayed here? This is because it started from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the so it is complete. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are 5 values, although it started from 0, but these are 5 values. That's why it did not display the number 5, displayed from 0 to 5, 0 to 4. Okay, so first element is always in 0th index, last element is in last index minus 1, we can say like that. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are printing it here. Now there is one more thing. If you wanted to, so right now if we print it, it is printing the values in sequence order. What if I don't want to print it in sequence order? What if I wanted to display only some certain number of numbers within the range? Okay, if I wanted to skip some values, so for that, in range we have basically two main parameters, but there is one more parameter that is optional, which is nothing but, we can say, it's a step, or we can say the number of items which you wanted to skip. Okay, so range. So what is this? I am going to declare a range which is having a value from 0 to 6, and I wanted to display and just skip two steps, like it's like skipping the two steps, and I'm assigning it to the variable num. So this is another way of declaring it. And for I in num, okay, print I. So what will happen this time? It will not print 0 to 5. It will print, it will skip two values. So let me execute it and showcase to you. See, 0 to 4. Why it is happening? Because there is an option, there is a it is skipping two steps. So 0, that's fine, then 1, it comes 1, so no, it will go to the next step. So 0 to 4, like this. Okay, if I keep it like 10, and if I execute it, so you can see 0 2 4 6 8. So like that it will execute. This is not, it's not necessary you can use 2, you can use 3 as well. So that means go and skip 3 values. So like that you can see here 0 3 6 9. So this is the way we can use the range. Okay, now there is a small program. If this is a small programs where what we are doing, we are taking a total count, whatever the numbers is present in the list. If you wanted to take a summation of all the items in the list, if somebody asks, write a program to sum all the items which is present in the list. So this is a here. So this is a program. You can see first we declare a list here, assign it into the number. Okay, and then I create one variable and assign the value 0. Then for num in numbers, okay, for num in numbers in this list, what I'm going to do, total is plus equal to num. So plus equal to is this assignment operator. You can, this is similar as total plus 1 num. Both syntaxes are same. Okay, so total plus num, and print total is, and then we are printing total number. Okay, if I execute it, you can see total is coming as 20. Now if I add one more, see here 22. So this is how we can use for loop to perform some kind of operations, to control the executions. Okay, and then after for loop we have a while loop. So basically while loop is used to execute a certain block of codes until the condition is true. So it's like when the execution is unknown, you wanted to execute it for limited time or unlimited times until that condition is true, then only we can use the while loop. Okay, so here in while loop, when we are going to learn about while loop, we will learn about the break, continue, and pass. There is one more pass statement in while. Okay, so these are the three keywords that we are going to learn while learning the while. So while is basically, you can see what will happen until the condition is not true, just is true, just go ahead and execute the loop again and again. So that is the definition, basic definition of while. So what I have done here is I have created a I have assigned value 0 to a variable, and I'm checking until and unless this value which is provided in x, or the variable, okay, until and unless this variable value is less than 5, go ahead and execute it. The moment it will come more than 5, then come out of the loop. So this is what the meaning of while loop. So if I execute it, you can see here what will happen. The very first is 0, 0 is less than 5. I incremented by 1 and pasted here, printed here. So this is 1. Then come back here, 1 is less than 5. Okay, true. Then it increment by 2, 1. Then it becomes a 2, printed 2. So like this, it is coming. Okay, 4 is less than 5. Why 5 is, now you can ask why 5 is printed, because 5 is less than 5. Correct, but you can see it's a before one, it's a last iteration where 4 is less than 5. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5, and print 5. Next time 5 is less than 5 and it come out of it. So this is why 6 is not present here. Okay, now if you see what will happen, I have told you, once we'll understand while loop, there are things that there are some keywords which we need to understand, that is break. First keyword is break, that we need to understand. Break is basically when we wanted to break the execution inside the while loop. And why do we do to break the, what is the need, right? Because there are some scenarios where you wanted to do it, like suppose you have you wanted to execute this loop from until unless this value is less than 100, but you wanted to do some operation once the value reached the number 50. At once the number is 50, you wanted to do some, or you wanted to print something. So at that scenario you wanted to halt the execution for some time. That's why we, or break the execution, that's why we use this keyword break. Okay, just see the implementation. See here, 0, we have assigned 0 value as usual. This is same as we have did here. While x is less than 5, incremented value print x. Okay, the same thing. But what we do is, the moment the moment it will come to the x is equal to 3, okay, in the third iteration we reach the halfway, we can print this and we can break it, so it will come out of the loop. So 4 and 5th will not execute it. Let me execute this code. You can see here 1 2 3 and we reach the highway, sorry, halfway of this. Okay, so this is how we can execute, or we can say like, if it is iteration is 2, we got the even number, or like that we got the even number. Okay, and then we can break it. See here 1 2, and then we got the even number, and we can paste it over here also. I mean, paste it as in, we can display the number as well. We got the even number, okay, comma x, so it will display the value. So this is how we can break the execution inside the while loop. Okay, now another is continue. So sometimes we need to continue also. Okay, the execution, let's say the same thing, the moment we found the even number, I wanted to, or let's say we have this code, I wanted to continue the execution, or wanted to skip the certain iteration. Let's suppose I have this while loop for the value 0 to 10. I mean, it's like, it will check the iterations, it will check the condition until unless the number passed is less than 10. Do this thing. What it will do? It will increment by 1 and print it. So this is the basic functionality of loop. But I'm checking if I is modulo 2 is less than is not equal to 0. That means I'm checking if the number is even or odd. If it is even, okay, then continue and print this. We found an even number. Okay, so let's execute it. I'll show you. So what will happen? It did not come out of the loop, but it will continue. It will go to the next iteration, but it print it, but it will continue to the next iteration. But in break, what will happen? The moment I got this value, it will come out of the loop. It did not execute the next iteration. But in continue, what will happen? I wanted to do something on that once this value will reach, but I wanted to continue the next iteration as well. So that is the difference between break and continue. So what will happen? You can see I is less than 10, evaluated, and you can see the output 1 and 2. The moment it come to 2, it's print 2, and then it check if the remainder 2 divided by 2 is the remainder is 0. Remainder is 0. Yes, so continue and print this. We found even number as 2, and then go continue, because we have mention here continue, so it will not come out of it. The controller will again go to this evaluation statement. 2 is less than 10, correct, then come here, and I is equal to 3, print 3, and then again print 4, and the moment 4 divided by 2, remainder is 0. Yes, we found it, we found the number, even number. So like this, the continue, this continue keyword will enable the controller to continue all the statements, and also the condition is also fulfilled. So when the condition is fulfilled, we print this value as well. So this is how break and continue will work. Okay, and now, so what is, there is one more keyword, pass, which is very important. Okay, in Python most of the case they use this, why we use the pass, right? So pass is basically do nothing. It's a keyword in the which we use in the while, but it's a kind of a placeholder for the future code. Okay, so it's a kind of, we are passing the controller to the next line. Okay, so you can see here what I'm doing is, while if you see here 0 1 2 3 3 4, 2 times 3 is printed. Okay, why? Because you can see here, if I is equal to 3, then I am passing the controller to print I again. So what is the basic functionality of while loop? Until unless this value is less than 5, go ahead and print the value and increment it. Print the value, increment it. Print the value, increment it. Okay, so what will happen? 0 is less than 5. Okay, 0 is print 0. Then 1 is less than 5, print 1. 2 is less than 5, print 2. 3 is less than 5, print 3. But what will happen? Okay, once the 3, it will go to the next line. Okay, 3 is equal to 3, yes, pass, come here, and again print 3 and go back here, and this is pass. Okay, so it is not either breaking, and it is not I mean, it is not breaking the code. So controller will go again, okay, and check. Okay, 4 is less than 3 is less than 5. Okay, then again sorry, 3 is less than, then 3, and then 4. One last one, 4 is less than, 4 is less than 5, yes, 4, and an increment. So this is how the data is evaluated if we use the pass. So basically, pass is used in very critical, very special scenario. Mostly, okay, here. So now we'll come to, okay, there is one more program that we have created which will make use of both keywords break and continue using the while loop. So this program is to get the valid number from the user. So the program says we until unless user did not give enter the valid number between the range, ask the user to enter the valid number. So this is a program you can see here. So for that, what we need to do, so that means there is a condition true or false. Okay, like I have created a value 0 and assign it to the value variable num. So I'm checking while the condition is true. Okay, this is going to return either true or false. So while the condition is true, what I'm doing here, enter the number between one. I'm trying to put the value. Let me remove this just to. So what I'm doing, I have created a number 0 and I have assigned it to the number this one. Okay, variable. Now I need to ask a question to the user to please enter a number between 1 and 10. Okay, so to get the number, there is function input. So I ask the user to input a number. Now the whatever the number user is going to put, that is always in string. So we need to typecast, because you can see here this is holding a value integer. So we need to typecast here and we need to convert it into int. So I enclose this entire thing inside the int built-in function. Okay, now the value, whatever the value user has put it, that is coming into that is cast to the integer and getting saved into this variable. Now I'm checking if this variable is greater than 0 and less than 10. So I'm checking if it is between the range of 1 and 10. Then print you have entered the valid number and exit the loop. And to exit the loop, basically what we are doing, we are using the break. Else, if this condition is not, and make sure to use the colon. Okay, else please enter the valid number and continue. So the moment we put the continue, again it will come here in the while loop and it will display again please enter a number 1 and 10. So let me execute it. I hope you understood. Now let me execute this. So see, it is asking enter number between 1 and 10. Okay, so let me execute something 89. Okay, if I enter, what will happen? It will not come to this. Okay, it will come to this. And because, and it is saying please enter a valid number, and because I have used this continue keyword, it will go again in the while loop and again print enter number between 1 and 10. Okay, let me put 23 now. Again it is coming back to the same thing. It is again asking. So why it is happening? Because I have used this continue. Okay, okay, sorry, wait, continue. And here let me put, now this time let me put value which is between this range. Let me put this value 6. You can see here you have entered the valid number and exit the loop 6. And now you can see, because we have used the break, it process finished with exit code 0. Now the controller come out of this program. So this is how the practical usage of break and continue keyword. If somebody asks you what is the practical scenario where you can use the break and continue, so you can say if you wanted a particular type of input from the user, until and unless user did not give the correct input, we cannot proceed. We can continue, we can use the continue and ask the correct input only. The moment the user put the correct input, we break the code and we accept the input. So that way we use the while loop here. So this is the practical scenario where we can make use of the while loop, break and continue keywords. Okay. Okay. So we have understood till so far what is the conditional statement, control statement, and looping also. Now we are left with the functions and scope of variables. Okay. So it's going to be a big long video, but I think we can cover a function. Variable, scope of variable I'll cover in the next session, otherwise it will be very boring and you will you will feel very bored. Okay, but this is very important and it's very, very interesting actually. Okay, so let understand what is function. Function, you already know, it's a kind of a piece of code which is written, which is already get written, and you will use it multiple times. Okay, as per your requirement. You do not need to write same. Let's suppose there is a inbuilt function is written for the calculation of two integer number. It is already there. Okay, so you are working in this in your project, and there is a requirement to calculate the same thing, calculate two integer number. You know, this function is already been used. So what you're gonna do it, you will consume that function, you will call that function to perform your activity instead of creating a function or define the body of the function. Okay, so functions are the piece of code which can be used multiple times, and uh, in the programs, like we can say that. Okay, so functions are of two types: built-in functions, and we have a user-defined. Built-in functions are those functions which has been which is already there in the programming language, which is already there in the Python. Okay, which we can make use of. And user-defined is based on your requirement. You will create the function. Okay, so built-in function, I'll give like some example: abs, absolute value, bool, any. These are the, and int, float. What is it? These are nothing but a inbuilt function. To typecast the value into the integer, use a int. We have just used it. See here, integer. This is an inbuilt function. Input. This is an inbuilt function. Okay, print. This is inbuilt function to print something. So here, let me execute some of the code here. So here there is a number minus 23. Okay, I am passing a minus negative number, and the absolute value I wanted to display here is, so absolute value, what you will get it is, remove the negative number. Absolute value is always a positive number. Okay, so you can see positive number, I mean positive 23, so there is no negative. Okay, and there is a, you can see here, apps we have used. This is inbuilt function. There is one more function which is a bool function. Okay, bool function is basically returns true or false. Okay, so if you see, if you will not pass anything in the bool function, okay, this is called a empty. So what is we are going to get, we are going to get a false. So for boolean function, you must remember some notes, that it will only give it will give only false for the zero, null, empty list, and dictionary. So if I pass zero here, so it will give me a false. Okay, if I pass empty, false. If I pass empty list, it is giving me a false. Other than that, what, anything if I pass here, like one value, two value, three value, anything, it is coming as a true. Okay, 23. Even if you pass some sort of string, then also it will return as a true. Only the four conditions for which the bool functions return false, which is if you pass the zero, if you pass the null, if you pass empty list, or if you pass the empty dictionary or a dictionary. So let me dictionary. Let me see if it's going to work. See, I have passed the empty dictionary. It's giving me a false. So only four conditions where the bool function and built-in function will return the false. Otherwise, it will return true. Now, if you see here, this is also one more. The number is 24, 23, and I wanted to convert it into float. I wanted to add a decimal in it. Okay, and print it. So you can see 23.0. That is, it has converted into the float. So this float is also a built-in function. So there are a number of built-in function in Python. You can explore by yourself also. But few of the examples I have given here to give you an idea. Now, there is one more thing that I wanted to showcase, which is not in this week 2 course, but let me show you regarding the input. So this is a built-in function input, where we wanted to enter the name and total characters. If you wanted to see, okay, what are the total characters which you are what are the total characters of your name. So to count it, what we can do, we have this built-in function length. So the total characters are, we can do this braces, and for to remove this braces, because this is braces is basically, it is defining the variable. So I wanted to remove the variable value, remove the variable to, I mean, replace this braces with the variable value. For that we use the format, and inside that I use this len function, which will calculate the total length of the name. Okay, and there is one more thing. If you wanted to ask the two inputs at a one time, for that what we need to use is split function. So this is also a built-in function. Enter two numbers and dot split. So first number is this, second number is this. So there are two ways by which we can print it. This is a one way, and second way is if you wanted to print both the numbers in one go, you can mention like first number is this, second number is this, and these braces I wanted to change it into the variable value, so I use dot format. This is also a built-in function. Okay, so if I try to execute it, enter your name. So let's say I enter my name as Mamta Rajput. Okay, the total number of characters are 30. Enter two numbers. See, I have entered two number with a space, 2 space 3. First number is 2, second number is 3, first number is 2, and second number is 3. You can see here. So this braces is replaced by the variable value. How it happened? Using this format function. Okay, built-in function. So these are the built-in functions that we have learned. Now, if you wanted to create a user-defined function, okay, user-defined function, what is the syntax for that? User-defined function is start with a keyword def. Let me open and comment this code. So this is the body of the function. Okay, so what I'm doing here is def is the definition, or we can say define, and followed by the function name. In my case, the function name is check even number, followed by the parameters if we wanted to pass any. It is not necessary that we have to always pass it. No problem. We can create a function without any parameters as well if we wanted to print only. But here I wanted to do some calculation. I wanted to see the value which I have passed is even number or not. So it's a program to check the number is even or not. So we'll take the input from the user, or we can pass the value directly to see the number is even or not. So what I've done here is define function number, function name, and then parameters, and then colon. As we use the colon in if case statements, we have to use the colon here in also. This is very important. And then if x module 2 is equal to 0, that means I'm checking if the value which is provided, the remainder of, if I divided it by 2, the remainder is 0, then print even, as print odd, and return value. So if I'm returning it, that means this function, whoever is going to call this function, it is returning value. That means it has to hold somewhere. Okay, so this is the way how to call this function. Just give the name of the function and provide a value here 3. Okay, but here because it is returning, that means we have to hold it somewhere. So what we are going to do, we hold it in a variable x. So whatever the value came, I'm printing it over here. So I call this function 2 times. See here, first time I called it with passing a value 3 and it is printing. Second time I am passing a value 6. Now let me execute this. So what will happen if I pass the value 3? So the remainder is 1, so it print odd. The second time when I pass the value 6, it came here. The moment the controller will see check even number, it jump over here, okay, and go and execute it and return it. So it will return and hold the value whatever the outcome is x, and then print it. Okay, so this is how we can create a user-defined function. Let me give you one more practical function, user-defined function. Let's calculate a speed. Let's say you have to calculate a speed. You have this distance and time. So what, to create a function, what we can do, def define, followed by a function name, calculate speed, then parameters. So calculate speed, we need a distance and time. So we pass two parameters, name dis comma time, and then we are printing distance in kilometer is this, and this time in hours is this. Why use the absolute? Because to avoid negative numbers in distance and time, we use the absolute built-in function. Okay, we print it, and let's take a variable speed and assign it with the value 0. Then speed is equal to, as we know, distance upon time. So absolute of distance upon absolute of time, and now it is returning that variable again. Okay, so now how this is. If you execute this, one more thing, if you execute this, nothing will happen. See here, no output. Why? Because we have created a structure only, we have not used it. We have just defined the structure of this function, but we have not consumed it, we have not called it. Okay, so nothing has happened here. So in order to call it, what we need to do is we have to create one variable. Why? Because it is returning something, right? And we have to call this calculate speed. We are passing this minus. I am deliberately passing this negative number because I have used absolute, and time is 34, and I'm whatever the data is calculated, I wanted to hold it into the speed cal variable, and then I'm printing it. The speed is this. So now let me execute it. Distance is, you can see distance in kilometer is absolute distance, although I have passed minus 20 245, but the distance is displaying it 245, not minus. Okay, not negative value. And time is this. So speed is coming as 7.20. If you wanted to make it float or integer, that you can do it. Okay, if you wanted to do this, you can do it. Let me try this. See, now all the decimal value has been removed. Total speed is 7 kilometer per hour. If I wanted to keep the decimal value, I can typecast as a float. So you can see here 7.20, which is ideally it was coming earlier. Okay, so this is how we can create a user defined function. Now coming to scope of variables, local variables and global variables. So we have two types of variable we can declare in the Python, that is local and global, which I am going to cover in the next session, because this is going to be very big video and this is very important. I don't want to this thing to be I mean I want this you guys can understand this concept very clearly. So just I'll create one short video on this scope of variable and with this code, so that you will understand what is the scope, what are the variables, and how we can what is the legv rule in the Python. So I will cover in the next. So I hope you like the video. Thank you and have a nice day. Happy learning.